What do you mean this is your house? This property that may be worth a figure my head cannot calculate right now is your house? She queried John, her husband of almost 1 year. He smiled and nodded. She exploded. You mean I have been living a lie for almost 1 year? John, now sensing that something was wrong, became worried instantly. This wasn't the outcome he expected. Yes, he thought there would be a little anger, but not what he is seeing right now. He tried begging her to calm down and hear him out. So Bella decided to do just that. Maybe there was a sudden miracle and he decided to surprise her. Okay, she said, breathing out to calm her nerves. I am calm now. Please explain it to me carefully, she said. You see, John began, my dad and mom were always against my choice of you as a wife. Scared you might just want to marry for the money. And I told them you were different, that you were not that kind of girl. So I needed to prove to them that you were not a good digger. This is because of their experience with my brother's ex-wife, who nearly ruined him, as well as my younger sister, whose fiance made away with all the money she saved up with the ploy that he was helping her work her papers. So my family became very skeptical about marrying from family that they are not well-to-do, or they don't have established means of income. As he was talking, an elderly couple walked in with some persons Bella later learned were his siblings and parents. They all supported what he said and made to congratulate her on passing their test. But Bella stood up from the chair, thanked them for their generosity, and told John she was done with the marriage. The silence that met her announcement was deafening. As she removed the ring he gave her and made for the door, John recovered himself quickly and went after her. What do you mean you are done with the marriage? He queried, his shock so visible one could make an act from it. And this is how it all began. My name is Isabella, Bella to those who are close to me. I am the third child amongst 4 children. My parents, though not rich, were very hardworking and principled. They brought us up on contentment, never loss for what you cannot afford, they always preached. Live within your means until you can do better. And they lived by these words. They worked really hard to provide food and necessities for us. My dad does odd jobs, driving, sometimes even conducting buses. And if no bus or car available, he goes to site as a laborer. Mom sells whatever comes into season, corn, plantains, fruit, whatever she could afford, she would sell. So life wasn't rosy or easy, but it was pleasant because we had parents who loved us and each other to bits. Because they never hid their struggle from us, we learned early how to be okay with whatever was provided. During school session, we were never allowed to help them out in whatever they were doing. To them, our schooling was more important. After school hours, we are meant to go home, cook, eat, do our assignments, and rest for the following day, even on weekends. My dad always said he was deprived from school because his parents died too early. He and his sister were separated as they were shared amongst relatives. But contrary to the promise he was given, he became the errand boy where he was taken. He still bore some of the scars he got from their beatings and punishments. He was not allowed to see the pages of a book, not to talk of knowing what is written there. His sister died of pneumonia where she was sent, and he was never told, until he ran away and went to the village with the money he begged along the way, only to ask about the whereabouts of his sister, and he was shown where she was buried. He said he was only able to recover from that trauma because her mom became his friend, as she had come from the city to stay with her maternal grandma at that time. Her stepmom didn't want anything to do with her after her own mother died, so they became each other's solace. And after her grandma died, they decided to get married and go to the city to find their fate. And this is them now after all these years. My parents always told us that we were their siblings, their children, and their parents in one. We were everything to them. That is why they chose to have the four of us, even though they could have stopped at two. But they wanted the family they were deprived of. Our education was their priority, as well as our well-being. That is why we were never allowed to join their hustle during school sessions. Only on holidays, and that is for a few weeks. 2 weeks before resumption, we had to stop all and stay home to reverse our books and get ready for the next term. This is how my family was run. We were close and we looked out for each other. We never want what they cannot afford. I used the school bag my immediate elder sister handed down to me, as she also received it from our eldest brother. Whatever we had, we are very careful with, because we knew how it came about. We may not have the latest clothes or such, but we were never sent out of school because of fees. We never lacked books, and even though we didn't eat the best, we always had food in our belly. But one day, tragedy struck, and our little world was shattered. I just finished my secondary school. I was teaching in a small school. I wanted to save a little to support my parents from a higher institution. My elder sister started learning tailoring against my parents' wish because they wanted us all to become university graduates. But my sister insisted she wanted to be a tailor instead. My dad was not happy at first, but he let her be when my younger brother fell ill, and all the money they were saving for her school was used for his hospital bill. And I was getting ready to write my senior exams at that time. So my dad had no choice. She was allowed to learn the tailoring. My eldest brother had gone to learn programming from his friend. He was so tech savvy, but no funds to put him through. He opted to learn everything he can manually and move on from there, but he promised my dad that he was still going to get his degree in computer engineering. So when I finished, I asked for 1 year to earn a little and also to give some room for my younger brother to write his own senior exams. And then we can know what to do in the space of that 1 year. So the teaching job, it was for me. My sister was now gathering money to get her own sewing machine and kit, and I was supporting her with a loan from my meager salary, with the hope that when she sets off, she will refund as it was school savings. I have been working for like 2 months when I got home one evening and saw a crowd in front of our compound. I was curious, so I went in immediately and saw even more in front of our door. Some persons recognized me and came to tell me sorry. I was asking, sorry for what? My sister ran out on hearing my voice and started screaming, but I couldn't understand what she was saying after her first few words, because I suddenly developed hearing loss. It was as if a loud bang exploded in my ears. I left her outside and walked inside, pushing everything away from my path. When I got inside, I saw my mom in a pool of her own tears. I went to her to ask why she was crying. She held me and said, Daddy has left her to a journey of no return. Our world was shattered that day because we never recovered from it. Dad was working as a conductor against all our advice because he said he preferred it as it gave him quicker cash than bricklaying. And there was no driving job as at that time. So on that day, according to what we were told, a tanker fell and their bus was caught in the middle. Dad was able to jump out as he was by the open door, but he went back under to rescue a little child. But before he could crawl out, there was an explosion, killing every other person that was still trapped there, including my dad. But the child lived, as we were told. My mom never recovered. She developed heart problems, and because we didn't have the resources to manage it well, she died just a few months after my dad. our world came crashing down. Our pillars were ripped right from under our feet without mercy or warning. But we had to go on no matter what. We have been inflicted with a pain that will never completely go away. So we just found a way around it. They died not seeing any of their dreams for us come to pass. Their toys seemed to have been a complete waste. And for the next 1 year, I was an angry soul. I get angry when I see children with their parents. I was angry at everything and everyone until one day. I just turned 23 years, but I didn't see any reason for the celebration, even though my big brother sent me a little token to buy something for myself from his little salary, as he had gone back to school to fulfill his promise to Dad. I was seeing himself through with money he earns from the gigs he gets for his programming. He promised I would enter once he finished. So on that fateful day, I was just taking a walk to clear the depressive thought as I was alone at home being Saturday. My younger brother had gone to play football with his friends. On my way back, I decided to get a little ice cream for myself and younger bro from the money. But when I went to pay, the cashier told me someone had paid. I asked who. She pointed to a figure walking out the door. I quickly ran after him, and after the introductions and all, I made to give him back his money as I wasn't raised that way, but he insisted. I decided I would give him the ice cream instead since he wanted to pay for it so much. He was shocked at my reaction, but I wasn't really in the mood for anybody in my state of mind, so I just walked away. Few steps I forgot about him. My mind was in a hyper mood that period because it was filled with so much resentment, too much pain to give room for anything else. I even stopped teaching because the mathematics that used to give me so much joy had become my worst enemy. My siblings put up with me. My elder sister took charge of every expenses with a little big brother sent once in a while. So you can imagine my shock when somebody tapped me from behind when I got to the gate. And when I turned, it is the ice cream guy. I looked at him for the longest time and asked him why he was stalking me. But I never gave him room to explain. I just gave him a piece of my mind and walked inside, jamming the gate in his face. He didn't stop coming. Day after day, week after week, he was at my gate, waiting for when I would come out. At some point, he stopped talking to me. He just stays there and looked at me until I had gone to where I was going and gone back inside. He leaves later on. I came to know. I was becoming very curious of who this strange guy was. My siblings came to know through my elder sister, and my name became the ice cream girl. John, without knowing it, brought back laughter into our lives, and that gave room for our friendship to blossom. And after a few months of being friends, he just proposed. I was shocked at first, but I said yes, because my feelings for him had gone beyond mere friendship as well without me knowing when or how it happened. My sister was the happiest, but my elder brother was skeptical because he still was insisting on me going through with university. But John assured them that he will ensure that I attain to any level of education of my choice. After all said and done, we got married. Life was beginning to make sense again, because John was there for me and my siblings with the little he was able to offer. It was almost like Dad came back, but a much younger version. My sister never pleased with anything that has to do with him. He didn't have much. We were staying in a room self-con, but we were happy. My sister had to come to our rescue most times for feeding, because I have not been able to secure any well-paying job and there was no money for business. Sometimes we go to bed hungry, but we had each other, and to me, that was all that mattered. Until 9 months after our marriage, John took me into the mansion and told me it was his house. I now understand my shock and my anger and the reason for my decision. I wasn't going to be married to a liar and a deceiver because of money. I will not betray all that I have been taught, because he suddenly decided that it was time to tell me the truth. He said he was already very wealthy before he met me. He was lucky to be one of the few people who started crypto mining before it was launched. So he had a few coins when its price skyrocketed, putting him and his family into wealth. though his father was doing okay as a businessman before he came into his own money in crypto. All that does not explain why he watched me develop ulcer in the few months I was married to him because of the level of hunger I had to endure. I even went as far as washing clothes for other people, which nearly destroyed my fingers. He sat and saw how my elder sister struggled to help us out from her meager earnings, and it was a test for loyalty. My parents might have been poor, but we were not opportunistic. Neither are we without principles. They thought I wasn't good enough for them, but their lives, for whatever reason, should be good enough for me. No matter the money they had to offer, no one should be made to go through all that to be certified good. I have never given him a reason to think I was a gold digger, and having known me for more than 1 year, I think there should have been some level of trust established to give him the confidence to defend my virtue no matter the insistence from his family. I can forgive them because they don't know me as much as he did. Even though their demands was inexcusable, he was the one I lived with. He knows everything about me, but it was still about satisfying his parents. I will not give my life to such a person because I will always be made to conform to the demands of those he holds in high esteem. I will not live my life looking for approval, hoping that I am accepted. I can also make that money. Anyone can make money, but once you lose that virtue, that consideration, that empathy for other people, I think you have lost much more than money, and I will never be able to recover if I were to go through such. So that is why I left. John broke my heart to shreds with his charade. It showed I never knew who I married. The people that came in that day as his parents were not those he came to our house with to marry me. Those he called his siblings were not the ones I saw on my traditional marriage day. So who really did I get married to? He came with his father's people, but I wasn't worthy of his siblings or his parents. The marriage was built on lies. My journey with him from the get-go had been a lie, and I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I ignored and just forgave just because he had money to flash in my face. Call it pride, but that is my stance. 5 years later, I had bagged my degree as a petroleum engineer, but going through my preliminary training before my induction into the Institute for Professional Chemical Engineers. Life had gotten a lot easier. My sister now has a fashion brand. My brother hit it big with a multinational corporation immediately he graduated with honors. And that has set the family on a path of ease, because he was able to give my sister the needed funds for further training and the establishment of her own fashion house, since that is what she insisted on. I went into school the following year as well as my younger brother, who got admission into a school outside the country. All this he did without stress. According to him, he was being paid well. So I never had to struggle while in school. He catered to all my needs. All he demanded from me was the best result, and I delivered. The only sad thing was that Mom and Dad did not live long enough to witness all we had achieved. We were preparing for my sister's marriage. This time we did our due diligence, so we don't have to go through what I went through a second time. I will marry when I'm ready. Right now, I have to build my career, because never will someone look down on my children and call them gold diggers. John came to beg until we moved to the house my brother bought, but I never saw him again after. Even though he might be a good person on some level, but the level of deceit he underwent to test me for his parents was not something I can ever overlook. So if his parents had not said it was enough, the charade would have continued. So many what ifs. I don't have to spend the rest of my life hoping I am accepted when I know my worth. I have forgiven him, but I can never be with him again. So yes, I am the poor girl who rejected the rich, handsome guy. The end. Hey fam, so this is the end of the story. This is a short one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop your comment. Tell me what you think about the story. What lessons did you learn? I am in for correction. What do you think I should do better? I hope you stay tuned in. Please like and share. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. God bless you. Bye.